Hey grade 3-4, welcome back to art. Now what we are doing today is we're continuing with our elements of art. We're looking at space like we did last week. So space, a bit of a refresher, is when we're looking at that foreground, middle ground, and then the background. So the relationship between those are within our artwork. So we're going to be looking at space, and we're also going to be looking at some of the other elements of art in this artwork. We'll be looking at colour, which I'm sure you all know lots about, and we are looking at line as well. So whether our artwork has sharp zigzags or whether there's a smooth curve to it, we'll be looking at those as well. I'm going to put some pictures up next to show you what kind of thing we will be making, and then I'm going to walk you through step by step on what to do. I have walked around my kitchen now and I have found a whole lot of boxes, as well as one that was about to go into the bin in my recycle bin. So just like those images I showed you, we are going to be creating a landscape. So that means a picture of something. Maybe it is a place that means something to you, maybe it is a fantasy world, I don't mind what it is, but we're going to go through it step by step. So you'll need a few different types of empty boxes. Preferably, if I open this up, you'll see that this is white. That means that we'll be able to add colour. Otherwise, if it is all on brown, you're going to lose some of those colours. So if you have a good cereal box, this is great. It's easy to cut because it's not too thick. Whereas this one, it's hard for my scissors to get through. So I want you to find a few boxes. I want you to go and get a pair of scissors, and you will also need a glue stick. You will also need some things to colour with. So I have got a whole lot of textures, pencils. You might even want to use paint, oil pastel, it's up to you. Let's get them and meet back together. Grade 3-4, you will need to cut out a large-ish piece of cardboard. Best if it is white, but if it is another colour, that's okay as well. You will be colouring the top part in, because that top part will be your background. There's going to be a whole lot of other things stacked up to demonstrate the use of space. Okay, now I want you to have a nice size piece, not something like this. This won't do. I need it to be a little bit bigger. So find a bit of cardboard like this, cut it out neatly. If you need help from somebody in your house, ask them nicely. And then we are going to open up, the next step is to open up these boxes so it's a nice flat shape. I have undone my Weet-Bix box now, and it has a nice white surface to work on. I've got my background here. I am lining it up on this fold, and you can see that I've drawn a line up here. This means I put a little notch here, a little dash here, okay, little marks, and I know now that when I take this away, I've got this space here, and I'm going to be cutting up this line, and I'm going to do a wavy line. So that's when we're looking at line in our artwork. You might do something different, but that wavy line is going to be mountains. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that, and then I'm going to cut that out. I've been busy cutting out my wavy line here to make mountains off my bit of cardboard, my Weet-Bix cover, or cardboard, sorry. So you can see that that will be sitting here nice and even against these edges, and you can see I've got my background, this will be my middle ground. I've decided to also make another mountain range, so I'm going to, that fits up here nicely, and I'm going to cut this one as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then my plan is I'm going to use this and I'm going to cut out some houses. I'm going to stack them here. I might do some trees as well. So you can have fun drawing all over this cardboard, and then you're going to carefully cut around your shapes. I have cut out all my shapes that I'm going to be using in my layered landscape here, and I've got a whole lot of different types I'll walk you through. So here is my base, here is my mountain range number 1. Then I thought I would do a second mountain range. Okay, so see how I'm layering them? Layering means putting on top of each other. I've decided to put a tree in as well, and I'm going to put that behind that second layer so you can see. This is all going to make a bit more sense once we've added colour. And I've started making some houses. Once these have colour as well, they're going to look a lot better. So they're right in the front, so in the foreground, and I'm going to have a nice bush here, and that is going to overlap this one here. So before I do anything, there's going to be a very special way for us to glue this down, but before I do anything else, we need to colour. So this project is definitely going to take 2 weeks, so you might only get up to colouring or cutting in this first week. Then the gluing is going to take a while to do, because we are going to glue in a special way. So first, let's go and colour. You can use crayons, paint, texture, pencil, whatever you like. You can even do collage. Absolutely go crazy and do whatever you need to. I'm going to use a combination of texture and pencil for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and start colouring. I'm in the process of colouring now, so I'm doing ice caps on the top of my mountains. Now you'll notice here on my tree, I am not colouring all the way to the base, because if you see that I will be gluing, let me just move this, I will be gluing this down. My second layer of mountains will be covering that, so I don't need to waste my time colouring lower. For this mountain though, I will keep going down to here, so I can make sure that at least that's covered. But then all the way down here, I don't need to colour that in, so don't worry about that. Just make sure that your layers cover what part you need to colour in. A little more progress. My mountain is done. Here's my second layer of hills. Started to do my bush that will be at the front. You can see how I'm layering them on top of each other. Next, I'm going to do the 2 houses. For something a little bit different for my background, instead of colouring the sky in blue, I'm going to do a bit of a sunrise or a sunset. So I've got a little bit of an old bit of paper here, coloured paper. So I am going to cut out a red background. I have cut out my paper and I have applied glue here. It's nice and sticky. I'm going to carefully line up the edges. It's hard with one hand. And I will glue it down. Okay, so at the moment, I'm a little off there. It doesn't matter about the base, because remember, everything's going to be layered over the top. I am going to layer these on, but at the moment my sky is just red. I want to have a sun peeking in the background, and I thought what better to use than post-it notes. So I'm going to cut one out in a circle shape, and I'm going to put it behind here. So again, working with the idea of space. So our foreground, middle ground, and background. So I'll go ahead and cut out a shape, and then I'm going to show you how to stick them all down. Okay, so when we are starting to glue everything down, what we can do is just stack them on top of each other and glue, 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 glue. But I think that's a little bit easy. What I think some of us can do is work with the idea of a spacer. Now, you might have seen in some of the last pictures that I put up how they looked like they were popping out of the page. So it looked like there was a gap between here, so it looked three-dimensional. So that's used by a spacer, and all a spacer is a thick bit of cardboard stuck together and placed behind. So if I were to glue that down, can you see how that's popping up? So I've got this shadow here, which makes it look even more three-dimensional. So to do that, you are going to cut out some shapes. I've got 2 here. It needs to be thick, so you might glue them together and then you can glue them down, and this will go between each section. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these onto the back of my first layer, and then I'll show you how to glue it. I've glued on my first spacer, so if I'm going to zoom in here, can you see how I've done 1, 2, 3 layers of cardboard, and I've just applied some glue. I'm going to flip it over, and now I'm going to stick that down. And you don't need much glue because it's only going on that spacer, so I'm just pressing down here. Just here, that's exactly where it was. I'm going to hold this up. Can you see how there's a gap now? Okay. So it'll look three-dimensional. So I'm going to start now, make some more spaces, and I've got my next layer. So I'm going to glue my spaces on. You can do 1, 2, 3, and then we'll glue that one here, and you can see it's looking more three-dimensional. I'm going to go ahead and do that to everything now. I've made a mini spacer for my bush at the front of my layered landscape, and you can see if I hold it up here, we have, let me just focus here, 3 bits of cardboard sandwiched together. I've used just a normal glue stick, but you might have some PVA. Okay, and then I've glued that on, and I'm going to glue it at the front. Okay, it's hard with one hand. All right, and here is my layered landscape finished, showing the elements of art of line. I've got all my lines here, space, foreground, middle ground, and background, and also definitely color. Okay, grade 3-4, now it's your turn to make your layered landscape. I can't wait to see your final results. I'll put up something on Google Classroom, and please get in touch if you have questions. I can't wait to see. See you next week. Bye.